My sincere greetings to all of you. Whatever may be the time you are watching this video, I wish you good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I am Loren Miyasaki from the Enmanji Buddhist Temple. Welcome to our virtual May Shotsukihoyo service. This memorial service honors family members and friends who had passed away in the month of May. Today is an expression of our appreciation for those who we are so grateful for. I will now read the names of this month's honorees. Takashi Koga, Yachio Yamamoto, Tomie Ito, Sana Otani, Denichi Otani, Katsukuma Ueda, Hifumi Miyasaki, Kanematsu Ikagami, George Kazuo Shizuru, Sugie Ito, Marlene Masada, Joe Isamu Furusho, Masae Kawahara, Helen Yoshiko Furukawa, George Masashi Tsurumoto, Mieko Witt, Jerry Morita, Stephen Yoas, Helen Sujihara, and Umeyuki Taniguchi. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu. At this time, we'll have a few minutes of quiet meditation. Reverend Hiroshi Abiko will continue the service with Sambajo, the three respectful callings. This will be followed by a dedication. Today's sutra will be Juni Rai.
Dedication with deepest reverence and gratitude for the awe-embracing wisdom and compassion of Amida Buddha, we reaffirm the three homages. Namo Amida Butsu. I go to the Buddha for guidance. Namo Ho. I go to the Dharma for guidance. Namo So. I go to the Sangha for guidance. Namo Amida Butsu. 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 大悲微妙安楽公無量無死主意如根熟心情如線のシャマタ行如造部両目上脈小蓮華公が将来弥陀尊面前炎上如満月以降有如千日月上如天空しら公が将来弥陀尊観音頂内観中中主寿妙相法諸言信福下道魔教満公が将来弥陀尊無微無苦交渉上習得教決女国小さ利悪徳自在公が将来弥陀尊十方妙門菩薩衆無量小魔女三段一生修上願力順公が将来弥陀尊本体保険知書家前言少女妙内山お膝上如線の公が将来弥陀尊十方将来小無視権限人図死安楽戦後尊厳上空行公が将来弥陀尊小無上無我と薬如水月伝よろ一種説法無名字公が将来弥陀尊非尊仏説無悪名薬無如人悪道不主に主心教必尊公が将来弥陀尊非尊無量法勉強無所主悪知識往生不退 尊功徳寺修善無辺如海水小逆前言少女者世宗
At this time, we will hear a Dharma message given by Rev Elaine Donlin from the Buddhist Church of San Francisco.
From the writings of Reverend Gojun Shichiri, born in 1835 into a Shin temple family on the Sea of Japan, he writes, "A fish lives in water, drinks in water, and spits out water. A Nembutsu practitioner lives their everyday life holding Namo Amida Butsu in mind, pronouncing Namo Amida Butsu in gratitude for the Buddha's benevolence, and living in the house of Namo Amida Butsu. Namandots, 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 namandots." Greetings and thank you for tuning into Enmanji's May Shotsukihoyo Memorial Service. I'd like to acknowledge my appreciation to the Enmanji board and to our videographer, Kevin Iwamura, for making this collaborative service possible. So it may look a little different in the Hondo during today's service. To the casual observer, I may appear to be by myself. But honestly, I don't feel alone, because I am not alone, not in this Hondo. I am here with every Namo Amida Butsu ever uttered. I am here in this house of Namo Amida Butsu with all of the Issei pioneers who, through great dedication and commitment, founded this temple. I am here with all of the Enmanji's past and present Sangha who've supported this temple, making the Nembutsu their home. I'm in this house of Namo Amida Butsu with every priest who's ever chanted from the Onaijin, the altar, including Reverend Abiko. His beautifully powerful chanting of Sambujo and Junirai still resonates in the air. And of course, I'm here with each and every Shotsukihoyo honoree, who we honor during this month of May and to whom we dedicate today's service. They are also here with me because each name that was read aloud has given us a gift, which is the opportunity to come together today, to hear the Dharma, to hear the Nembutsu, to say Namo Amida Butsu together. I am standing here in this hondo, receiving all of the causes and interdependent conditions that have provided the opportunity to be present at this very moment. Like I said earlier, it may not be so obvious at first glance, but with just the slight shift in perspective, one can easily see them all. It's not so obvious, and yet it is. We're talking about a fundamental shift in perspective. That's what the Buddha's awakening was 2,600 years ago, a change in how he viewed life, his world, the truth of our profound interdependence and precious impermanence. The wonderful Dharma teacher and author Stephen Batchelor wrote, Siddhartha Gautama's awakening involved a radical shift in perspective, rather than the gaining of privileged knowledge into some higher truth. It was an existential readjustment, a seismic shift in the core of oneself and one's relation to others and the world. Rather than providing Gautama with a set of ready-made answers to life's big questions, it allowed him to respond to those questions from an entirely new perspective. A couple of weeks ago, I posted to BCSF's Facebook page a chart that was titled, Who Do I Want to Be During COVID-19? A temple member had kindly emailed it to me, and I really wanted to share it with the larger community. On the chart was a series of concentric circles, and the first contained the question, who do I want to be during COVID-19? And then the three concentric circles followed, the first being the question itself, and then the second was called the fear zone. The next was called the learning zone, and the last was called the growth zone. So inside the fear zone was written, I grab food, toilet paper, and medications that I don't need. I spread emotions related to fear and anger. I complain frequently. I forward all messages I receive. And the last in the fear zone was I get mad easily. The next circle out was the learning zone, and it had the following written inside of it. I start to give up what I can't control. I stop compulsively consuming what hurts me, from food to news. I identify my emotions. I become aware of the situation and think how to act. I evaluate information before spreading something false. And last in that circle was I recognize that we are all trying to do our best. In the last and final circle called the growth zone, it's written, I think of the others and see how to help them. I make my talents available to those who need them. I live in the present and look to the future. I am empathetic with myself and with others. I thank and appreciate others. I look for a way to adapt to new changes. And lastly, I practice quietude, patience, and relationships. And so to me, what this chart offers is an opportunity to maybe shift our perspective with respect to how we are living under these new and often challenging circumstances. We're talking about an existential readjustment, the possibility to respond rather than to react, to shift to an entirely fresh and different perspective when meeting the barrage of changes unfolding before us. I think these three zones reflect my Bonbu nature, that foolish, self-centered perception of reality, with the acknowledgement of the reality of immeasurable compassion, nurturing and sustaining me. Again, from the growth zone, I think of the others and see how to help them. That is the Mahayana Bodhisattva path upon which the Pure Land Sutras and Shin rests. I make my talents available to those who need them. Again, the Bodhisattva path of wisdom and compassion. Actually, all Buddhist practices are oriented toward dissolving the sense of self that obstructs us from benefiting others. I am empathetic with myself and with others. I think this one's especially important right now, given that many of us are sheltering in place with family members, partners, and friends. And we need to remember that compassion for others begins with kindness for ourselves. Compassion is all-inclusive. I thank and appreciate others. Often when Buddhists ask me what our practice is in Jodo Shinshu, I usually say that our practice is gratitude, right? Namo Amida Butsu. The Nambutsu isn't said to attain Buddhahood for ourselves, but to express gratitude for all that we've received. I look for a way to adapt to new changes. This is Buddhism 101. It's one of the fundamental teachings of the Buddha, right? The truth of impermanence. Everything is changing all the time. Whether we like it or not, change is happening. Some of these changes we grasp after, and some of these we push away. But the truth is that life is always in transition. Nothing stays the same. Life is constantly changing. And the challenge is really to see it. I practice quietude and patience and relationships. Practicing quietude. So I've been retired for 5 years now. And something I started at the very beginning of my retirement was the practice of noble silence, which is starting each morning in quietude. No phones, no computers. So going before my Butsudan, my home altar, is an opportunity to practice quietude. Coming here to the temple is an opportunity to practice quietude. I practice patience. Patience, or kshanti in Sanskrit, is one of the 6 paramitas, or perfections, that Buddhists are taught to cultivate. Kshanti means unaffected by or able to withstand. It can be translated as tolerance, endurance, composure. It is definitely a quality that can serve us well as we continue to shelter in place. I practice relationships. This is an acknowledgement that relationships need to be cultivated and nurtured, that we need to tend to them. How do we practice relationships? Actually, relationship is why many of us are here today. Whether to collectively practice as a Sangha, or to remember, to honor, to say thank you to our Shotsukihoyo honorees who, in some way, have touched our life. And so they too are here with me and hopefully with you at home as well. Because living in the house of Namo Amida Butsu isn't really about this temple. It's about our life. That's the real house of Namo Amida Butsu. That's the house that Reverend Shichiri speaks of. Several years back, Reverend Professor David Matsumoto wrote a beautiful explanation of how, as Shin Buddhists, the Buddha Dharma infuses this lived reality. He wrote, "The primal vow of Amida Buddha declares, I cannot attain enlightenment unless all beings attain enlightenment with me. The vow expresses the highest ideal for all people. When we entrust in the vow, when we awaken to the boundless wisdom and compassion of life, then we will see no difference between ourselves and others. We will realize the interconnectedness of all beings. When others suffer, we will suffer. Our happiness can only exist in the happiness of all. This is what the Buddha teaches us, that the minds of wisdom and the hearts of loving kindness find fulfillment in compassionate activity. This is a beautiful way to appreciate Shin and also to understand the growth zone. It's the Bodhisattva path. We are all in the midst of an incredible moment for the world and for ourselves. It's definitely full of challenges, but it's also full of opportunities, of promise, of potential in each and every unfolding moment. Shinran lived in an ever-changing, extremely turbulent period of time. From political unrest to a series of catastrophic events, there was famine, typhoons, floods, famines, and earthquakes. Through all this, Shinran confronted himself and his constantly unstable world, struggling with the all-too-human limitations of attachment, aversion, and delusion. And yet, he accepted Amida's great compassionate vow, which shined a light into the profound compassion always supporting him. He wrote, "The light of compassion illumines us from afar. Those beings it reaches, it is taught, attain the joy of Dharma. So take refuge in Amida Buddha, the great consolation." Please join me in Gassho. A Nembutsu practitioner lives their everyday life holding Namo Amida Butsu in mind, pronouncing Namo Amida Butsu in gratitude for the Buddha's benevolence, and living in the house of Namo Amida Butsu. Namandots, 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 namandots. Let us continue to take care of each other, to reach out and stay socially connected while practicing physical distancing. Be safe and healthy. And thank you for joining in today's virtual May Shotsukihoyo Memorial Service. Take care.
This concludes our May Shotsukihoyo service. Enmanji would like to thank Mr. Daryl Yagi for starting the service with the Kansho. Thank you to Reverend Hiroshi Abiko for leading the chanting. Thank you to Rev Elaine Donlin for the inspiring Dharma message. The temple would also like to extend our deep appreciation to temple member Kevin Iwamura for his technical skills in having this virtual service go online on the Enmanji website. Thank you to Ms. Diane Ono and Mr. Larry Ono for the flowers and offerings for the Onaijin. If you would like to make a donation, you are invited to do so through this video or by mailing your donation directly to the Enmanji Buddhist Temple at 1200 Gravenstein Highway South, Sebastopol, California, 95472. This information can also be found on the Enmanji website by selecting the donation button. Thank you very much for viewing this service. May you all stay safe and well during these challenging times. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu.